We begin here at 5 with the family sharing their grief after a mother of 6 was shot and killed in Sandusky. Thank you for being here with us. I'm Katie Houston.
And I'm Damon Maloney. This happened last Wednesday, and tonight the woman's husband faces charges. News 5's Maya Lockett spoke with the family about their loss and how they're hoping to move forward.
To know my sister was to love my sister. My sister, she was amazing.
Anita Perry shares the good memories of her sister, Rolanda Perry Watkins.
Her mother skills, top of the charts. Everything that she did was for her kids.
It's what she holds on to in order to keep going after losing her little sister just last week.
I'm still in disbelief,
There are some phone calls you never forget. The kind that split your life into before and after. Perry got that call on February 4th, and nothing has been the same since. Her niece was on the other end, voice shaking, barely able to get the words out. Mama's been shot. Just like that, Perry's baby sister was gone. Rolanda, the woman everyone called Snookie, had been shot 3 times in her own home. By the time Perry made it to Sandusky, Ohio, it was too late. Rolanda was gone, and 6 little girls had just lost their mother. Let me tell you about Rolanda. She was 32 years old and a mother to 6 daughters. 6. Can you imagine? 6 different personalities, 6 different needs, 6 different hearts, all depending on one woman to hold everything together. And Rolanda did exactly that. She was the kind of mother who put her kids first no matter what. Even when she had nothing left to give, she found a way to make sure those girls had everything they needed. Perry remembers her sister that way. Always showing up, always being there, always making it work. Those girls were her whole world. If you saw Rolanda with her daughters, you just knew that was her purpose. That was what she lived for. Perry and Rolanda weren't just sisters. They were close. Really close. The kind of close where you don't need to explain yourself because the other person just gets it. Perry had watched her baby sister grow up, become a mother, and build a life. She'd seen Rolanda transform into this woman who loved being a mom more than anything else on earth. But here's the thing Perry can't stop thinking about. She knew something wasn't right. Rolanda had been having problems with her husband, Jerry Watkins. He was 37 years old, and he lived in that house on Sycamore Street with Rolanda and the kids. Perry had noticed the tension. She'd talked to both of them, separately and together, trying to understand what was going on. And look, marital problems are normal, right? People argue. Couples go through rough patches. Sometimes they work it out, sometimes they don't. Perry thought that's what this was, just a rough patch. She never saw this coming. She said it herself. I never thought he would do that to my sister. Nobody did. That's the thing about domestic violence. It doesn't always look the way you think it will. Sometimes it's just tension building up slowly. Arguments getting a little more heated. From the outside, everything might look fine. But inside that house, something was breaking down. Still, Perry never imagined it would end like this. How could she? You don't wake up thinking your sister's husband is going to kill her. You don't prepare yourself for that phone call. You don't rehearse what you're supposed to do when 6 little girls suddenly lose their mother. Now Perry's left trying to pick up the pieces. 6 nieces who need someone to hold them together the way their mama used to. And a question that won't stop echoing in her mind. How did we get here? February 4th started like any other day. In that house on Sycamore Street, there was probably the usual morning chaos. Kids getting ready, normal household noise, just regular life happening. Nobody knew that normal was about to end forever. According to what police found out later, there was tension in the house that day. Rolanda and Jerry got into an argument. Now, arguments happen, right? Couples fight. People say things they don't mean when emotions run high. But this time was different. This time, Jerry made a choice that would destroy everything. Here's what makes this even harder to understand. Family members were in the house. This wasn't some private moment behind closed doors. There were people there who heard the argument getting louder. People who maybe thought it would blow over. People who had absolutely no idea what was about to happen next. It was 5:40 in the evening when the call came through to Sandusky police. Shots fired. A home in the 700 block of Sycamore Street. Officers rushed to the scene, and what they found would haunt everyone involved. In the middle of that argument, with family members right there in the house, Jerry grabbed a 9mm pistol. And he didn't just fire once. He shot Rolanda 3 times. 3 times.
Let me tell you something.
One shot might be a moment of rage. One shot might be losing control. But 3? 3 is intentional. 3 is making sure. 3 is knowing exactly what you're doing and choosing to do it anyway. By the time officers arrived, Jerry had already moved upstairs to the 2nd floor. He'd barricaded himself up there, and he was armed with a knife now.
Think about that.
Rolanda was downstairs, bleeding, dying, and he was upstairs worried about himself. The police had to call in their special response team. When officers made entry into the home and found Rolanda, they knew time was running out. She had multiple gunshot wounds. They got her out of there as fast as they could, rushing her to the hospital, doing everything possible to save her life. But it wasn't enough. Rolanda Perry Watkins died that day. 32 years old. Mother of 6 daughters. Gone because the man she lived with decided an argument was worth ending her life over. The coroner's office confirmed it later, 3 gunshot wounds. Police recovered that 9mm pistol when they searched the house. They found 4 shell casings scattered around the scene. The evidence was everywhere. Upstairs, Jerry was still barricaded with that knife. And here's something that tells you everything about his state of mind. When police finally got him into custody, he had injuries. Self-inflicted cuts on his neck, his arms, his chest. So let me get this straight. He had enough awareness to know what he'd done was wrong. Enough awareness to hurt himself. But not enough to stop himself from pulling that trigger 3 times on the mother of his children? After what felt like forever, officers took Jerry into custody. He was injured, so they took him to the hospital for treatment. Rolanda went to the hospital too, but only one of them came out alive. And back at that house on Sycamore Street, 6 daughters were about to learn their mama was never coming home. While doctors were fighting to save Rolanda's life, a fight they would lose, Sandusky police were putting together the pieces of what happened. And honestly, there wasn't much mystery to solve. The evidence was right there in front of them. Chief Jared Oliver and his team got a search warrant for the home. They recovered that 9mm pistol. Those 4 shell casings. The knife Jerry had been holding during the standoff. Everything pointed in one direction, and that direction was Jerry Watkins. The investigation moved quickly. There were witnesses, family members who'd been in the house when the argument turned deadly. People who heard those 3 shots. People who saw Jerry run upstairs. This wasn't a case where detectives had to figure out who did it. They knew exactly who did it. What they couldn't figure out was why. But here's the reality. Sometimes there's no why that makes sense. Sometimes the answer is just that someone made a terrible, irreversible choice in a moment when they should have walked away. Jerry Watkins was arrested and charged with murder. Chief Oliver said more charges could come once the prosecutor's office reviewed everything. Jerry was taken to the county jail and held without bond. He wasn't going anywhere.
I never think that he would do that to my sister. Like, I ain't gonna lie, like, I have talked to him, I have talked to her, you feel me? Like, that, I ain't never, ever, like, nah, not that.
Have you spoken to him since the
No, I wanted to, I tried to. I actually seen him there, and I said a few things, but my main focus was getting my niece.
But back at Perry's house, 6 little girls were trying to make sense of a world that didn't make sense anymore. Their mama was gone. Just gone. And the man who took her from them was locked up, but that didn't bring her back. That didn't fix anything. Perry did what family does. She stepped up. I got 6 babies now, she said. I'm going to make sure they're raised right.
6 more kids to take care of.
6 more lives depending on her. Because that's what you do when your sister can't be there anymore. You show up for her kids. The family held a balloon release for Rolanda. A moment to honor her, to let those girls say goodbye in whatever way they could. The community showed up too. People donated, reached out, tried to help however they knew how. Because when something this tragic happens, you see who's really there for you. But Perry still has questions. She still wants answers. She wants to have a conversation with Jerry. I want to know why, she said. How could you? That's the question that haunts her. How could you take away the one person those 6 girls needed most. Perry had talked to both Rolanda and Jerry before this happened. She'd tried to understand what was going on in their marriage. She'd been there, trying to help. But she never imagined it would end like this. The hardest part? Watching those girls grow up without their mother. Perry said what breaks her heart most is that she's going to miss watching Rolanda be a mom. All the moments Rolanda won't be there for. All the times those daughters are going to need their mama, and she won't be there to answer. Think about everything Rolanda's going to miss. First days of school, graduations, first heartbreaks, weddings, grandchildren, all of it gone. Stolen by 3 bullets on a February evening. Cases like this make you wonder how many more families have to go through this before something actually changes. How many more mothers have to die at the hands of someone who claimed to love them. How many more children have to grow up without the one person who is supposed to protect them forever. Rolanda was doing what mothers do. She was raising her girls, holding her family together, being the foundation everyone stood on. She dealt with everything life threw at her and kept going. That's who she was. The kind of person who made sure everybody around her was okay before she worried about herself. Perry keeps replaying everything in her mind. The conversations she had with Rolanda. The times she talked to Jerry. Were there signs she missed? Could she have done something different? These are the questions that haunt survivors. The what-ifs that never have good answer. This wasn't Perry's fault. This wasn't Rolanda's fault.
This was a choice Jerry made.
A choice to pick up a gun. A choice to pull the trigger not once, but 3 times. A choice to value his anger more than the life of the mother of his children. Domestic violence doesn't always announce itself with sirens and red flags. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it builds slowly, behind closed doors, where nobody can see. Sometimes families are dealing with tension and problems, and from the outside, everything looks manageable. Until suddenly it's not. That's what makes this so scary. Perry knew they were having problems. She was involved, trying to help.
And she still didn't see this coming.
Because how could she? Who expects someone to go from marital problems to murder? The reality is that domestic violence can escalate faster than anyone realizes. An argument today might seem like just another fight. But tomorrow, it could be life or death. And by the time everyone realizes how bad things really were, it's already too late. For Rolanda's 6 daughters, the impact of this is going to last forever. They're going to grow up with a hole in their lives that can never be filled. They're going to have to answer questions about their mother that no child should have to answer. They're going to navigate life without the one person who loved them more than anything in this world. The oldest might remember her mama clearly. The youngest might only know her through photos and stories. But all of them will carry this trauma. All of them will wonder why. All of them will have to find a way to move forward in a world that took their mother from them. Perry's stepping into a role she never asked for. Raising 6 girls on top of her own responsibilities. Being the one to answer the hard questions. Being the one to hold them when they cry for their mama. Being the one to keep Rolanda's memory alive. And Jerry? He's sitting in a jail cell, facing murder charges. Those self-inflicted injuries he gave himself? They'll heal. But the wounds he created in those 6 girls in Perry, in everyone who loved Rolanda? Those wounds are forever. Rolanda Perry Watkins was 32 years old. She loved her 6 daughters more than anything in this world. She was a sister, a friend, the foundation her family stood on. And on February 4th, an argument in her own home became the last moments of her life. 6 daughters will never hear their mother's voice again. Perry will never get her baby sister back. And a family that was already dealing with enough now has to figure out how to move forward with a hole that can never be filled. But here's what I want you to understand. Rolanda's story isn't just about tragedy. It's also about the love she left behind. Those 6 girls carry their mother with them. In the way they smile, the way they love, the way they'll raise their own children someday. Rolanda's legacy isn't just in how she died, it's in how she lived. Perry's making sure of that. She's raising those girls the way Rolanda would have wanted. She's keeping her sister's memory alive. She's showing those daughters that even when the worst thing imaginable happens, family shows up. Love shows up. The community showed up too. People who didn't even know Rolanda personally donated, helped, supported. Because this story touched something in people. It reminded everyone that this could happen to anyone. Your sister, your daughter, your friend. If you're reading this story and something resonates with you, please hear this. You don't have to stay. If you're in a relationship where you feel unsafe, where arguments are escalating, where you're afraid, there are people who can help. There are resources. There are ways out. Nobody should lose their life to someone who claimed to love them. Nobody's children should grow up without a parent because an argument got out of hand. Nobody should have to make that phone call that Perry got on February 4th. Domestic violence doesn't always come with obvious warning signs. Sometimes it's a pattern of control that builds slowly. Sometimes it's tension that everyone thinks will just blow over. Sometimes it's problems that seem manageable until suddenly they're not. For Rolanda, it's too late. But for someone else reading this right now, it's not. If you're experiencing domestic violence, reach out.
Call a hotline.
Tell someone you trust. Make a plan. Your life is worth saving. Your children need you here. Perry's living with questions that will never have good answers. But she's also living with purpose. Those 6 girls need her, and she's showing up every single day. That's what Rolanda would have done. That's what love looks like even in the middle of unimaginable pain. Rest in peace, Rolanda Perry Watkins. Snookie, mother of 6. Taken too soon in a way that never should have happened. Your daughters will grow up knowing how much you love them. Your sister will make sure of that. This isn't just a story. This is a real family, real lives, real pain. And it keeps happening until we all start paying attention. Until we take domestic violence seriously. Until we create a world where people can leave dangerous relationships before it costs them everything. Rolanda's 6 daughters deserve to grow up in a world where what happened to their mother doesn't happen to anyone else. That's the legacy we can create from this tragedy. That's how we honor her memory. Rolanda mattered. Her daughters matter. And every person experiencing domestic violence matters. Let's not forget that. Thanks for watching. Please click on the subscribe button and like for more crime video.